All right, everyone, there's a couple brand new Nintendo Switch stories we need to talk about today, starting with a surprise subscription service that Nintendo has officially launched that I don't think anyone was anticipating, but we have to go over all the details of that service. Then the big talking point for today's video has to do with Nintendo Switch Online and a surprise games update that, to be quite honest, is probably one of the best we've seen in a long time hit the expansion pack, and we have to talk about when to expect the future games to roll out for the service going forward. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we got a couple different stories to unpack today, and we have to kick it off with a brand new subscription service that Nintendo has officially launched. To be clear, at this point in time, it is only available in Japan, but I am hopeful they will bring this to the rest of the world because it's actually a very nice service. As let's quickly hop over to VGC to break down all the exact details and what's covered here, because it sounds like you can break your Switch a couple times a year entirely and Nintendo will replace it for part of paying for this relatively cheap plan. Like, I'm extremely impressed with this, so let's quickly get on the same page with all the details over at VGC together. Nintendo has launched a subscription service for Switch repairs in Japan. The Wide Care service costs $15 per year. Price at 200 yen per month or $1.50 or 2,000 yen per year, $15. Wide Care is billed as a flat rate repair warranty service that can be subscribed to at any time. Products covered include Switch and Switch-Lite consoles, Joy-Con controllers, the Switch dock, and AC adapters. On an annual basis, members can claim up to 6 repairs, including 2 that involve the replacement of the console, and up to 100,000 yen or 738 US in repair costs. In addition to natural breakdowns, water damage and accidental damage are covered. Users need a smartphone or tablet with a camera function to subscribe to Wide Care, which also covers shipping costs. It's unclear if there's any plans to launch the service outside of Japan, but we've asked Nintendo and we'll update the story if we hear back from it. So legitimately, for $15 a year annually, you get $738 worth of coverage on your Switch, up to 6 different claims, and then you can break that across whether or not your Joy-Cons start drifting on you, or if you're just having random technical difficulties, or especially if you are someone who has kids that unfortunately they drop the console or it gets wet, something gets spilled on it. It is a portable handheld device as well as a home console, so I think the service makes a ton of sense, and it also is an interesting talking point around the fact that this is something that you find typically with mobile phone manufacturers. As you know, you have things like Apple Care out there that cover all of your mobile devices, and this is really Nintendo kind of dabbling into that same space with that broader conversation of, do they view the Nintendo Switch as really a mobile platform going forward, but just with the ability to play all of those games on a TV as well. And that also ties into the fact that we might see them double down on the more incremental, smaller upgrades with this line of consoles over time, and the Switch is a longer generation than usual because they just keep refreshing it slowly. But I would definitely subscribe to the service if it was available in the US. The fact that it covers just straight up accidental damage and water damage with the Switch, the console itself, and you get 2 console replacements per year if that were to happen, I think that's a ridiculously huge value and a huge win. So I'm hopeful that it's not just a Japan exclusive. I'm sure we will see how it goes for them over there, whether or not it is profitable when mass adoption takes place for the subscription, and based off that, we may either see it launch in other markets or not. But shipping costs included sounds like a somewhat relatively easy claim process, and it can be added on at any time. They're not saying you have to add it right when you buy the Switch console. It's a pretty ridiculous insurance policy in my opinion. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below what you think about Nintendo piloting this brand new insurance style subscription service. Do you think they bring this worldwide? And if it was available to you directly in your local market, would you actually subscribe to this service for that peace of mind factor and various fixes around issues like Joy-Con drift and multiple other things that can go wrong with the console? So please share all your thoughts and feelings on all things with Nintendo and this new Wide Care coverage in the comments down below. Now, the other story we're talking about today has to do with Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack and some brand new games that did drop late last night. Funnily enough, literally like about an hour and a half after yesterday's video went live, when I was talking about when are we going to get some kind of roadmap update around new N64 games and additions to NSO, because now without that summertime direct where we would have expected things like a Mario Kart Booster Course Pass Wave 2 announcement and like a future roadmap update for N64 games, we obviously did not get that. But in true Nintendo fashion, with no warning, they just posted up late last night to Twitter with a brand new games drop for the Sega Genesis, 4 new titles available now. Also, really interesting note that normally we get to see a kind of a heads up on when these games are going to be added in due to that Nintendo status bot that is out there on Twitter. I don't know if Nintendo's maybe figured out a way around that to not schedule the maintenance in a public way where it is visible, but we didn't have any maintenance heads up for the Genesis app. Nobody was talking about the fact that these games would most likely hit that day, so maybe Nintendo has figured out how to truly do it secretively and we don't get that 24 hours or so heads up around when the games will hit the service. But nonetheless, I will say that this is a solid batch of games, and you may have more nostalgia for some rather than others, but to quickly get on the same page with what was revealed and which games and why one of them in particular is a big deal, let's quickly hop back to VGC and read through their detailed typed up article together. Switch Online's latest Mega Drive/Genesis update adds Mega Man: The Wily Wars plus Comic Zone, Target Earth, and Zero Wing. Mega Man: The Wily Wars is a special remake compilation for the first 3 NES Mega Man games. Each title was given a graphical and musical overhaul, bringing them in line with other 16-bit games, similar to what Nintendo did with Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES. The game was released in Japan and Europe in late 1994, but wasn't physically released in North America. Instead, it was added to the Sega Channel, a paid subscription service for the Sega Genesis that let players download games through their phone line. The game was finally made available again in the Americas in 2019 when it was one of the 42 titles included in the Sega Mega Drive/Genesis Mini before being released in America in physical form for the first time in 2021. Now, first off, we have to start with the Mega Man collection of games because clearly that's a somewhat big deal that it's, of course, a licensed Capcom title that is being dropped onto the service, one that has had a lot of issues finding locally over the course of its history being on the market, and I just think that that's a huge addition to drop into the expansion pack. Where the original NES ones are on the NES collection of games, I don't know. Whereas the Mega Man X games on the SNES games library, I also don't know, but I am a big fan of seeing Mega Man featured on this Genesis collection. These might not be the ideal versions for everyone out there, but I do think that the visuals look very nice. I'm going to play through 1 through 3 again on this collection because I'd never played this over the course of time. Even owning that Genesis Mini, I never booted these games up, and now that I have them on my Switch, I can play them in portable when I'm on the go, or just have some fun with them on the TV in docked mode. I definitely like the fact that these were dropped into the service. I like the fact that it was a surprise late June update that we got for 4 new games. I don't personally have nostalgia for the other games, but Comic Zone is another one that caught my eye because you're literally playing through a comic book with like action fighting style mechanics, and I'll definitely boot that one up and check it out. And then Target Earth and Zero Wing are both games that I have not heard of before, but at least worth playing through the beginning portions of those games to see what they have to offer. And while this is clearly a nice addition for the expansion pack part of the service, I'm hopeful that Nintendo doesn't forget about NES and SNES and some of the big games that are, to be fair, a lot of them at this point are licensed games that they would have to pay some fees to get them on the service, but I hope that we just don't completely forget about those classic libraries. And if we really do get updates where we get NES games, SNES games that are quality titles one month, then the next month we get Sega Genesis games, then all the while we're getting one new N64 game added into the service, which is unclear at this point, to be fair, because we don't know what Nintendo is planning in terms of N64 and a future updated roadmap when we're talking about past July, because we're clearly wrapped up with the officially announced N64 game. So that's all up for debate and speculation on how Nintendo will handle that particular issue. But all in all, as a paying Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack subscriber, I am always happy with new games and new updates that hit the service. I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, both the different stories we talked about today. What do you think about Nintendo and this new insurance-esque subscription service that they've launched in Japan? And are you hopeful? And would you sign up if they launch it worldwide? And then definitely share with me what you want to see from the future of Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. Do you want more communication around the service? Because I know I definitely feel like I would love to have Nintendo outline at least a roadmap of future games we can expect and tell us a loose timeline of when to expect them. Or are you a fan of these surprise drops where we truly never know what's around the corner with Nintendo and we just get those last minute Twitter drops that say, hey, it's live on your Nintendo Switch right now? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today in the video, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, where we discuss some brand new questions that were answered around Sonic Frontiers gameplay and a large discussion around the future roadmap for N64 games on NSO Plus expansion pack. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.